Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you once again for another episode of the Author Spotlight. Man, we got a treat today. We have the one and only Miss Jalene Mack on the show. Before she come in and do her thing, I'm just going to share a little bit about Miss Mack. But in all her business, she has managed to also pen a book, The Business of Stage, Screen, and In Between. Entertainment attorney Jalene Mack's practical advice for performers, playwrights, and filmmakers. With all the hats she wears, particularly as an entertainment attorney, actress, TV and film producer, and a producing playwright, it is no surprise that her industry peers, including me, just being someone on the outside looking in, oftentimes call upon her for advice. Most often the questions are routinely the same. How do I copyright, or how do I set up my production company or a podcast or anything else dealing with intellectual property? These questions are really the same for most genres of entertainment. So the answers to the questions are just as beneficial to those in music, film, or television, or in general business as well. And the book reflects such. I shared a little bit about the book. There's many facets to her. She's a public speaker. I just shared a little bit about the writer. You heard about the actress, playwright, and producer. Also, we can't go without saying she's an attorney, mother, and wife. I mean, it's just so many things to her. And also, I want to share a little bit about impact as well. So, Miss Mack, I can't do it like you do it. Please share with the people anything that I left out about your bio.
Wow. When I hear other people talk about me, I'm like, I do all of that. No wonder people come up to me and say, how do you do it all? How do you wear so many hats? It's exhausting just to listen to the mini bio. I can tell you, I think you pretty much covered it all. I will tell you, and we can talk about this a little later, I'm the production attorney and starring in a TV show called Fifth Ward on the UMC network. So, but I just
Congratulations.
want to active wearing all hats. Thank you very much. And we got a season 2 and 3 that I'm very excited about. So we can talk about that a little bit more, but I just want to point out that it's not just wearing those hats, and it's not just, talking the talk, but it's walking it, right? So trying to do everything and in a positive and inspirational way.
I'll say, okay, and I love that about you, and you do it well, by the way. And I just want to ask Ms. Mack, we heard a little bit about your bio. They don't even know. Y'all got to go to JaleneMack.com or whatnot, or go follow on social media to find out everything about her. But share with them, why did you do this book? You could have went so many routes. Why this book as your first book?
Right. Wearing all the different hats as a lawyer, TV film producer, actress, playwright, involved in a lot of conversations. But what I notice when people come to me as a lawyer, for instance, and they say, hey, can you help me with this contract? Can you take a look at it? And there's some general things that we might discuss that they have no clue about. So I started finding a trend with people in arts and entertainment that there's just some basic things that we don't know about, like copyright. By example, people think mailing a package to yourself, the poor man's copyright, is the best way to copyright, or maybe even the only way to copyright, if, depending on what you were told. But I just started seeing some kind of common areas that people didn't know about, which led to me doing some workshops initially to educate people about the business side of what we do in arts and entertainment. And eventually that led to me doing even more and writing the book. And it's a book I had in me for a very long time. I'd done some research to see if there was anybody else with a book like this. And I realized even if there was another book like this, my book wasn't out. My perspective wasn't out. My story wasn't told. And so I just thought, let me pile all this general advice into a book. And instead of paying me $300 for a consultation fee, you can pay $30, $35 for my book and have it for a lifetime, right? And that's kind of how it came to be in terms of actually putting pen to paper or tapping on that computer and getting the book out. And once I was finished, I realized it really wasn't a book just for people in arts and entertainment. It's a business book at the end of the day, and it's a book for everybody.
And I want Miss Mack shared several great points right there, but I want those who listening, make sure that you understand the importance of investing in yourself. Now, did you just hear what she just said? That was a nugget right there for all those who might wasn't paying attention. You could get the book for around $35. I don't care if it was $100. It's worth every bit. You need to get it and pass it on to your team and others so they can be able to learn and glean from the knowledge that she's invested thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars as far as her time, efforts, and monetary means to be able to accumulate the knowledge that she has right now. But you have to invest in yourself. Go and get the book. Not like you said, it's a business book. So no matter what business you're in, there are things that you can learn from there. There's transferable skills that can apply to any industry. So speaking of that, I want, with all that you're doing, it's a sense of confidence that illuminates off of you, Miss Mack. And could you share, it's one thing to know that you got experience. I know lawyers, I know people from different fields, but it's one thing to actually share your story. What made you believe that you could write a book when so many had failed at the task?
The difference, I think, with this particular book for me, I was telling, I'm giving advice from my own experience, right? So I can't fail for what I already know that I've either witnessed that's come true. That's a fact, right? It is. I'm storytelling. I am sharing information with the masses on the pitfalls, the ups and downs, what good and bad advice looks like. I'm sharing practical information based on, again, all of the hats that I've worn, all the years that I've been in the business, all the research I've actually done on my own, but I've lived everything that I've said in this book. And so why not share it? Not everybody went to law school. Not everybody can produce or write. Not everybody is a playwright. So you may have some people that are more on the talent side than the business side. But since I had a sense of business and it's all in my head, and I don't want to just take it all with me, I need to share it with others. I decided to put it in a book form. Again, I was getting the same basic questions from several people. And I realized, okay, let me at least share all the information that seems to be general enough, no matter whether you're an actor or a musician or a poet or an entrepreneur of any sort, really, because about how to set up your companies and things like that. So I didn't feel like I can fail because I'm not trying to, this is not a religious book. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I am just simply selling information and giving out information for a very low cost so that it makes it conducive to that person's pocketbook. Because and everybody knows this, when they come to me, if you're in arts and entertainment, I tend to give you a discount anyway, because I know it takes money to feed those dreams, right? That's another reason why the book is low cost, because a lawyer is expensive, but you can buy this book for like $35 and then, like I said, have it for a lifetime.
And that's something else about Miss Mack that for those who get to know her or just spend any time around her, I noticed that just by being able to attend one of her events is that she's always giving. Always giving. I mean, the whole time I'm just thinking to myself, I was at that event thinking to myself, I just kind of kept looking around thinking to myself, like, sooner or later, they're going to ask me, like, did you pay $1,500? Did you pay $3,500 to be here? I kept wondering, like, when I was able to go sit in, I'm just looking around like, man, I know I was invited here, but I kind of felt out of place with it because, like, man, I just kept I wasn't expecting all that value with all those leaders from across the globe.
Yeah.
That you were just giving to people just at a discounted rate. And that's the sad thing that people don't. That's why I'm going back. I don't know what it is about the investing. Somebody can give you something that's of tremendous worth, but you don't even understand. You don't even have enough sense, as my grandmother would say, and my grandmother would do what she would tell you. You don't have enough sense to understand the importance of receiving. And that's what she's doing with this book. That's why you must go get the book. Now, when we talk about the book and you're creating so much content, because I know some people are thinking right now, wait a minute, Darren, this woman she's a lawyer, she's writing books, she's a playwright, she's doing all this. I don't even know if I can get a chapter wrote. So please give us some hacks. How do you go about creating content? Is it early in the morning, during the day? If it's recording yourself, then share some of the hacks of Miss Jalene Mack.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you had yourself on mute there for a
Oh,
second.
yeah, I don't know what happened. It just literally muted out. Okay, so I started this book in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I originally wrote an outline because I knew the story I wanted to tell, the experience I wanted to tell through this, the advice I wanted to give, but it was more so I'm telling a story, taking you
Mm-hmm.
on a journey with me. And when I started the book initially, I was writing about producing my first play, but then I produced my second play. So I had to go back and add that information. And then my second play became a movie. So I had to go back and add that information. And before I knew it, again, I realized the book was more than just entertainment book. It was a book about business. So I know I like to write late at night. I will say that, but I didn't force myself to try to write every one time. You know, I just started writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. And then I realized, oh, okay, I got something here. And then you always go back anyway. You always go back to the beginning. You're going to add a little bit more. And the more you read your material to yourself, you realize the things that what else needs to be told, right? Even with the chapters, my chapters came from the chapter titles. They came from the idea of the outline I did. These are the things that I know if I'm a playwright and I'm about to produce a play, what are the first, second, third, 10 steps that I need, right? And so that was the arc of how I decided to write. Had never written a book before, picked up a few books on those how-to books, right? Skimmed them, didn't study them, because I realized, Jalene, you write for a living anyway. You're a lawyer, first of all. So even if I'm in court and I got to file a lot of documents to prove your case, to defend you and your case or whatever, I got to tell this story. I gotta convince and sell the jury about you and how these facts are favorable to you. So I knew how to write in that sense. I had taken creative writing in class. And I've read so many scripts, and as an actor, I've been a part of so many different productions. I felt like, okay, I could do this. But I would tell you, some of the good advice I think I've heard along the way was, if you want to write and you can't figure out what to write about what you know. Start there. So again, it made sense for me to share a book about the things that I already know, wearing all those hats.
That was real good. Write what you know. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Nobody knows your story. It's just like us doing this interview. It's hard to
Right.
mess up the interview when it's your story. And if it was somebody else's story, if I'm asking you to do something about, brain surgery or something like that, it might be a different subject. But when it comes to your story and you doing what you do, you can't go wrong with that. And for those who are listening to Miss Mack's story, the thing is, you have to find your lane. What do you have in your hand? If you're a mechanic, you have something right there that you need to use, because Lord knows I need your help if I need some assistance, because I can't rebuild a motor or do anything like that. And so, for those out there who it might be dance, whatever your thing is, make sure that you move forward on it, and you'll be shocked the value that you have, that you might just, belittle because you think it's something that comes natural to you. And that's one of the common mistakes that I see out of so many people, no matter if it's in entertainment, if it's entrepreneurs, artists, it doesn't matter, that they undermine themselves and devalue what they bring to the marketplace. And so when I'm looking at you, Ms. Mack, and I have to ask, this is a selfish question, I have to ask this one. This is not even on a list of questions to ask, but I want to share this because you embody this better than anybody else that I know. It's like the old commercials used to come on with Bo Knows. Well, I just think Jalene Mack knows how to be creative on different things. And you brought up sell. And you was talking about how you have to sell the jury, if it was my particular case, about why it would line up with the reports that you were putting. You were storytelling. So with the storytelling, for those who are wondering, how are you able to navigate the multiple fields? Because some people would just say, you know what, I got a law degree. That's what my mom and them sent me to school for. That's it. I'm married, and that's all I'm going to stick with. But for you to continue to step out, we see the banner in the background. What makes you continue to push for more? That's what I want to know right now. Because a lot of people, they'll stop in one area and they have more on the table, but they say, well, I'm just getting paid this much a year, or I got this position. What makes you continue to go for more, Miss Mack?
Right. My mom always said I was a busybody. And I do think my busyness and my genuine desire to explore and take chances and just see if I can accomplish this or the other probably comes from my mother and my grandmother, who were entrepreneurs. And my grandmother, I think she was 70 and still selling cell phones. This is when cell phones pretty much the first of flip phones had come out. And but I would tell you, I was in arts and entertainment as a kid early on. Always knew that that was a space I wanted to be in. I was influenced by Kim Fields when she was on Facts of Life to even be an actress. And then, so I grew up in arts and entertainment with being in the drama club and doing plays and all of those things. So that was deeply in me. But when I came out of college, at the fork in the road, I knew I had to either go to graduate school or law school or some post-education from college, because you got to make yourself competitive, right, in the marketplace. So I decided to go to law school, but I knew I wanted to be an entertainment attorney. So when you start connecting the dots of the things that you desire to do in life, it all makes sense. So all the many hats, they are many hats, but they're really all a part of this one tree, right? I got the trunk of the tree and I have all these different branches. So the source of all of that is the same. That's the common thing. And it just makes sense for me to wear the many hats, because I can do this. This is what I was trained to do. This is how I was educated. I'm one of those people that just kind of figures it out. And so in some cases, for many people, you might think, oh, she's distracted. She's doing a lot. She's doing too much. How's she doing so much? But I'm so non-traditional anyway. I don't live inside a box. I'm very much the person that steps outside of the comfort zone, right? And so all of this in the entertainment and arts world makes sense to me. So it's easy to manage what I should be and should not be doing. But I got a sense of discernment in terms of people around me, because people will see that you're doing all these different things and expect to step into your world and and have you do most for them. I get people that call me every now and then. Hey, I'd like to take you to lunch. I have this idea. I wanted to see if you want to be a part of. Like, I was sitting there fiddling my thumbs, waiting on that phone call. What? But that's because they know, how much I bring to the table. But so it's definitely a balance with giving yourself to the public, because some people can kind of take advantage of it, right? But at the same time, I like being accessible. So anyway, this whole world of arts and entertainment and the business side of it and the law side of it, for me, very much makes sense.
Awesome. I thank you for sharing that, because I know some people trying to wrap their heads, and we live in a time frame where so many people are in the box, and so many want to reach out, but they're letting fear get in the way. And that's where your faith and knowing who you are. And I like what you have going on as well, because it's those symbiotic flows that you have. It's who you are. So the law is who you are. And at the end of the day, the essence, the origin is the storytelling. You're a storyteller. Yeah. So whether you're in the courtroom, you're storytelling, whether it's a playwright, you're storytelling, as an author, you're storytelling, no matter what you're doing, you're storytelling. And so that's what we want to break down to. Let's get to the core of whoever listening out there. Stick to your core. Continue to storytell. Continue. If your thing is helping people, you get to continue to help people. A young man that I know, he was helping people, and then all of a sudden he said, man, you know what? And this is nothing against nobody, but this is just his actual case. He was a social worker, but he realized I could still help people and get compensated for it just like a social worker, but get paid more money, take care of my family, and get them my charities and church a different way. So he did social working, but then he created his company where he did consulting to help people and help states as far as cutting down on recidivism out of prison. So it's the same thing. You can be a teacher here, or you can be a teacher as a life coach, or whatever else that you want to be out there in the world. So speaking of that and the change, could you share with us, as far as you being an author, share with us some of the things that you've seen, how it's been beneficial to your life, whether it be as a mother, and how you looked at by your spouse or by your colleagues. With you being an author, multiple streams of income, opportunities, could you just share anything about how being a published author has been beneficial for you?
I used to do Steve Harvey's trademarks. I did it for 17 years as his lawyer. And Rushion McDonald was his manager. And so together I did a gazillion trademarks for them over a 17-year period. What I learned working under the two of them was branding yourself, making sure your name is out there is everything. So you ever notice how Tyler Perry attaches his name to all his movies? So you know it's the Tyler Perry brand, right? With Steve Harvey, it's the Steve Harvey Morning Show. So one of the things that I did learn was to use as many tools as you can to brand yourself and get your name out there. So a book is one of those things that'll do that for you. The other thing I learned from Steve, when he came out with the very first book, Think Like a Man, Act Like a Woman, and it's about relationships, right? Folks are like, well, he has all these failed marriages. What does he know about relationships? But there's something to say about that, right? There's something to say about failures. But what I noticed is because he put all of his thoughts in a book, it automatically elevated him in some way to an expert. So I realized, well, hey, get a book out there. It's going to expand the brand and it's going to elevate you to be an expert. And so that's how it's helped me. So it's allowed me to get invited more for speaking opportunities because I've written a book. And it's one thing to be a lawyer, but most people think, well, in order to benefit from me being a lawyer, they have to hire me, right? They have to need a lawyer for something specific. But oftentimes it's just information that they're trying to gather. So now I have this book. They can just buy the book. You don't have to necessarily buy me, but you can buy the book, right? All passive income. Who doesn't want passive income? I think that writing books, and whether your book is in print or is electronic or whatever, it is one of the probably cheapest business investments, really long-term, that you can invest in, because you've already cut down on one cost, which is the story. It's in your head anyway. You know, that the message of your book, the content of your book is in your head anyway. You might have to tweak it, you might interview some people or whatever, but that's half the battle right there. So I think, and I think also once you write one book, you get one book published, then you realize how many other books you have in you, right? And you're like, okay, well, my next book's gonna be about this, my next book's gonna be about that. And they may not be related to the next book, but it certainly gets you in that rhythm of, let me explore some other stories. I think I have some other information to share. But the book, it's been great. It's been something I've always wanted to do for some time. I'm happy with the feedback that I get from the general public, people I don't know, because your mama can tell you now, baby, that's a good book, if I got to say so myself. And I appreciate when my mama tells me that. But what I need to know is the general public that doesn't know me personally, what they think of the book. And so it's very refreshing when people pop up on social media and say, hey, I bought your book, read the whole thing. Or this one person out in LA, I always refer back to your book when I make a business move. And I'm like, just, thrilled to hear this kind of stuff. So certainly confirmation that tells me that I did the right thing. And the other thing I would say with books, they can really be as long as you want them to be. Obviously you don't want like a little pamphlet, but you don't have to write a book with the intentions of it having to be 500 pages. My book is 160 pages and it's compact with information. So I can honestly say it's definitely been a blessing, and it's no regrets. I'm glad I did it, and it certainly served as a launch pad for other things.
I mean, that's it. That's Miss Mack, though. I mean, you can't do it. If we had something, let me drop the mic, Miss Mack. Let me drop the mic real quick. We gonna drop the mic on the show. I'll be to drop the mic. I told you she's gonna hit y'all with those value bombs real quick. I'm just saying, like, it's like Campbell's soup. It's just good, Miss Mack. I mean, everything that you share here is so good, because I mean, that's what we have to show. That's why we go behind the scenes with best-selling authors, is because this is what you get to learn when you come onto this platform and you listen in. You got like individuals just like Miss Mack who are change agents, who are planet shakers, who are making a difference locally and globally. And you see why. It's the train of thought. Sometimes you have to look at yourself and do a self-analysis, self-assess, and get an understanding. Where am I going wrong? It's the thinking. Do you see how she's thinking? That's why she's able to accomplish so much, is through the thinking. If you won't even invest $35 for a book, how are you going to get $3,500? How are you going to get 35,000 or 3.5 million and so on? So if you got someone who's have this expertise, why not piggyback on what she's already learned? You that much further ahead. Now she had to make some serious investments for the things that she had to do, but she's giving it to you in the book. And so I thank you for that. But Miss Mack, before we let you go, I know you got a busy schedule. Please talk to that person out there who thinking to themselves, like, I see she's a lawyer. She's beautiful, brilliant. She got a lot of things going on in her life. I got a story that I want to share, but I don't feel like I've done enough. Some people want to wait till they're at the end of their life before they try to do a book. But could you speak to that person out there who's out there thinking to themselves, I want to do a book, but I don't know if I should put one out? Could you share with them the importance of still sharing their story, even though they're not a Steve Harvey, they're not a Jalene Mack or Warren Buffett, why it's still important for them to share their story?
Right. You know, there's so many great books out in the universe that we oftentimes, use those quotes from the books and things like that to keep us motivated. And we don't always know who those authors are. They're not necessarily, famous faces, right? But they had something important to say. I always tell people, I'm not a motivational speaker, but I got something to say, right? I think we all have something to say. And if it's a story that offers information, business information, if it's things that's designed to motivate, encourage, I tell those stories through our books. There's always an audience for something. Look at reality TV and how ratchet it can be. There's an audience for it. So don't be surprised that there's an audience for your book, the story that you want to tell. And obviously it's all in the marketing and the packaging of it and getting the word out. But I say, write the book and don't be surprised by how many people show up to support you and buy the book. And you see those residual checks, popping in your bank account that you can go, okay, yeah, okay. People needed this information. And you make things affordable. But what you don't do is you don't mislead people. You don't give them a bunch of fluff, right? Nothing like buying a book and then you're reading like, I could have written this. Where's the expertise? No, right? So whatever promises you make sure you fulfill those, because readers are very critical, but they will support you and be very loyal to you if you continue to deliver and fill their soul and make them feel like they've their money was well spent. That's for certain. I would tell you, I'll just make sure I'm clear. When I say it's a business book, anybody that's out there can learn about getting an EIN number, setting up your corporation, right? If you need information on copyright, trademarks, business plans, all those, how to raise money, interesting ways to package and present and do events to raise money. So all of that is in the book. And again, that's where it's in that area of that it does not matter if you're in arts and entertainment, that the book can be for you. I was born in 1968, proud of my age. I turned 50 back in January. But for all of us on our tombstone, it's going to say the year you were born, right? And the year you died. And in between that year is that little dash. But we all have to work on our dash. And that's what I'm working on. And the book is one of the many parts of my legacy, my dash that I want to feel. It's something that I leave behind for my kids. And hopefully it's also a way to show my kids how to build wealth and how to build passive income, right? And the one thing that I can say that most people in my generation, our parents told us, graduate from high school, go to college, get you a job, get married, retire, die, right? They don't encourage necessarily for us to be entrepreneurs. And the book any book, writing any book will put you in that space. It'll catapult you into that space. If you ever thought, what can I do to be my own boss? Writing a book, becoming an author can put you in that space. So that's another great thing that's come out of writing this book. And like I said, the desire to write other books. So I'm officially an author, and I plan on writing some more books.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Well, bravo to you. I can't wait. And actually, is it any way, could you share with the audience, how can they get the book? How can they connect with you? So any social media handles, websites, could you share that at this time?
Absolutely. So I guess they'll see the book a little later whenever the interview runs, but this is the book. You can find this book through my website, which is chitchatprint.com, or you can go on Amazon and buy a title, The Business of Stage, Screen, and In Between by Jalene Mack. You can do an Amazon search. The book is available on Amazon as well as Kindle. You can follow me on all social media. You can find me at my website, jalenemack.com, all social media at Jalene Mack. My nonprofit, Impact, which is a nonprofit for visual and performing arts. We also do a lot of workshops that kind of tie into some of the things that my book covers. So the website for my nonprofit is Impact, that's mpac-arts.org. And you can find Impact under all social media under Houston Impact, MPAC. And a general Google search will give you a lot of information on me. My website has a lot of links as far as my actor's reel, the book, the nonprofit, and I certainly want to make sure that everybody's watching the TV show, which is called Fifth Ward, on the UMC network. And it's it's a digital streaming network, much like Netflix. I call it a Black Netflix, okay? Bob Johnson, who started BET, it's his network. So it's the UMC.TV app that you can download to your phone, or you can go to online. And they have a 7-day trial period. So you can literally get the show for free and binge watch all 6 episodes. And if you don't want to keep it, you can cancel it. But I encourage you to keep the subscription, because there's a lot of good content on there. So make sure y'all check us out and support us. And it's a Houston show. It's a international show, because it's global, because it's on the internet. But the show is about Houston, Fifth Ward, Houston. So like Atlanta has Atlanta, and they have Chicago has Chi, Houston has Fifth Ward. So check us out.
That's it. Well, I want to thank you so much, Miss Jalene Mack, for coming on the show. I knew it was going to be a ton of value. That's why I had to get you on the show. And you didn't disappoint. I don't know about y'all. I got my notepad out. Like I said, I'll be selfish on my show. I'm writing notes. If nobody else don't get anything, I'm getting something on the show. So I really appreciate you and all the wonderful work that you're doing, and how you really impact the lives, because it really helped me. And I thought I was doing some stuff as well, but when I went there, it was just, I even shared that with my mother. I was like, man, I said, I went to Miss Mack's event. I wasn't expecting that, but it just it was somewhat like when I went and seen Black Panther a little bit and seen what comes.
Oh, yeah.
And when I went to that as well, it just triggered my mind. There you go. It just triggered my mind. What can happen, what you can do for community, how you can bring thought leaders together, how you can create engagement, and how to persevere even though everybody's not there. Some of them got to act like Hines and Hunts and catch up. But at the same time, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do with your dash, that's what counts. And some people come along later, but when you're a forward thinker, you can't stop and acquiesce to the thoughts of others who are, that's not there yet. If you keep on setting the mark and being a trailblazer, that's what you're supposed to do. And when I seen what you were doing with Impact and the other work that you're doing by following and studying you, that gave me encouragement. Like, okay, this makes sense for my area, what I'm doing. It doesn't matter if people don't look like me in my profession, or it don't matter if someone had done this the way that I'm doing it. Keep doing you, and everything else will work out. So I want to thank you for that so much, Miss Mack, for being a leader. Even though nobody don't tell you, I want to give you your flowers while you're here, while you're in that dash stage, instead of coming up later on. She impacted me in so many ways I never did get to tell her. I want to tell you right now that I really appreciate you impacting my life and my business.
Thank you so much. And if anybody's interested in booking me or or having me come out with the books. They can find all that out through my website, jalenemack.com. And Impact is a film festival in October, so I have the books available at the film festival, which is UH Downtown, October 11th through the 13th. And they go visit the website. The registration goes live August 1st. And then, I pop up with the books quite often around town or out of town, depending on what's going on. So the book is definitely available online. It's a little cheaper if you buy it from me because you cut out taxes and shipping, right?
There you go.
And I sell it about $5 less than the online cost.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much, Ms. Mack. And I want to thank for all those who are tuned in for today. Remember that you are the real true MVPs. It's about you learning, getting better, and making your community better. Until next time, remember that this is the year for your new book. Be blessed and be great.